Hey folks, thanks for watching this video on this new trumpet warm up. I call this my own version 3. It's not really version 3, it's probably about version 3 of this video that I've tried to record. But in terms of warm ups, we all kind of, I suppose, modify and change and need to do whatever is necessary, I suppose, sometimes to get warmed up. So recently I've had a little bit of an embouchure change. I've covered some stuff of that in other videos and on my Facebook page, but also I've been delving into some warm-up material that I used to do, but also, sorry, just checking if everyone's recorded, also just making sure that I am as prepared to do what I can do on a daily basis every day. And I've kind of come up with this warm-up. It's quite similar in many ways to a lot of what I've done already, but I have added in some specific exercises which are variations. Some are total lifts from other study books, etc., and we'll get into it. So I'm recording this one in a slightly different format. I have already recorded the warm-up. I just decided to do the warm-up in one straight go from beginning to end. Now you're not going to see that here. I'm going to obviously introduce each stage of the warm-up, chop it down so you don't have to watch the whole thing, and then we'll move on to the next section, okay? And I'm also recording this as an overlay as well, so it'll probably be like one of those YouTube React type videos. Not really, because I'm not watching myself playing, etc., but I'll be up in a little corner just here or up there or something, commenting about the warm-up. So here we go. So this is warm-up version 3. Okay. Okay, so as always, I didn't actually do it in this video, but I did do it a little bit of lip flapping, so we know what that looks like. Nice and relaxed. We're not trying to sustain a buzz or anything. I'll do it right now, just as it's not in the video, and then we'll move on to the next section. That's all it is. Just literally taking a sigh, letting it out. You're not blowing, you're just letting, or I'm just letting the air out of my body through a nice loose embouchure to get everything woken up. That always gets my head woken up, gets the air moving and everything else, and it's here we are, ready to go and do some trumpet playing. Now the next part is something that I didn't lift it specifically from Laurie Meregillano's book called Chops, but this type of version of this exercise is in that book. So thanks very much, Laurie, for one, putting that study out there, into the book, and putting the system out there as well, but also saying, hey, you don't have to do the Caruso Silent G for 20 minutes. It's a brutal exercise by itself. So this is what's happening now. I'm pretty much just doing closed teeth exercise, where my teeth are gently closed together, like embouchures relaxed, mouthpieces on the face, and I'm just blowing through. And you'll hear like whistles and cracks and pops and everything else, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah, I do watch for about 5 minutes, and I think personally trying to do the 20-minute G first thing in the day is a little bit much for me. I'd probably get quite tense. That's just me. Okay, so the next part is something that I learned a long time ago, is very, very popular, is our lead pipe buzz. And essentially it's mouthpiece in the lead pipe, remove your tuning slide and engage the air, and hopefully you should eventually get a nice resonant sound. To start off with, you might just get air coming through until there's such a place where the lips start to vibrate from the amount of air that's coming out of your body to also the air that's already in the lead pipe. I'm not going to get into the mechanics of it and the physics, etc., but that's essentially how our lips buzz. Okay, it's entirely different to when we actually free buzz or we do mouthpiece buzzing. That's an entirely different thing. I've not done any videos on those yet because I am not massively skilled on them. There are other people out there that do a lot of fantastic videos on that. I'll put some of the links to other videos that I watch in the description, and if you do have a look on my channel, you'll have a look at other channels that I look at and watch as well, in the whole realm of trumpet teaching, and a word that I'm not very good at saying, pedagogy or pedagogy, whatever it is. Anyway, so Lead pipe buzz then goes on to do the next stage of the lead pipe buzz, which Mr. Mike Lovett showed me, and that is an open bent F. So you'll see in the video. Tuning slide back on the instrument. Mouthpiece held in your fingers. So I obviously hold the trumpet in my left hand, mouthpiece in my right hand, and pretty much engage the mouthpiece onto your embouchure. Start letting air through the mouthpiece, bring the trumpet into the face, and essentially you're aiming for the same pitch as you would buzz on the open lead pipe. Approximately somewhere around about a concert E flat, which is our F. And I think in this video as well, I note check as well, just to see how my pitch is. Sometimes I'm often actually a little bit low than my F with first valve, and you can hear that as well. So that's essentially the open lead pipe buzz, and for me that really helps me feel that I'm properly opening up here. In terms of being relaxed, I'm not physically opening my embouchure, I'm feeling relaxed and open in such a way that the sound is free to vibrate. Okay, so next are some very, very gentle Gs. Okay, I've done a video on these. One of my first videos, I think a long time ago, was on this, and really the exercise is just about, we've got the air moving through here and we've got sound happening already, but this is us getting close to actually trying to create what we would consider maybe a musical sound on the instrument. So just trying to blow through with everything properly engaged through the instrument so that we get a G just start to happen. Now some of my students have a C, a bottom C, some of my students have a top C. Some of my students find this easier on a valve note in terms of like whatever note starts. This is what happens for me when I just put the instrument on my face and I gently blow. It's kind of like the whisper G, but my teeth are a readily normal way to play. So my teeth aren't together, my teeth are just open as though I'm ready to play trumpet. And what I'm trying to check is where the air the air actually allows the sound to start. Okay, so you can hear that, and then what we'll do is we'll do some gentle tongue notes, so we're looking to get the articulation of the tongue started and that we can start and stop the note, and the buzz or the sound is ready to respond. Next is a little bit of bending. There's more bending to come in this exercise, specific exercises that are coming up, but this is another little way just to make sure that everything here just is ready to respond to the air that I'm going to be chucking at it. Support that I'm using in my torso, let's not use the D word just now, okay, just in terms of support down here, I believe all this at the very, very early stages still needs warmed up, still needs woken up. Okay, so it's just a couple of basic little note bends there, semitone and then a couple of semitones, etc. Okay, so on to the first of the main, what I would call, exercises. I have got a whole playlist on my channel dedicated to Maggio, and all of the warm-ups are there, all of the exercises are there, and I'm just in the process as well of recording a little synopsis, almost like a review of the system. Why I did that is also covered on the channel as well. And this is essentially a variation of Maggio Warm Up C. Warm Up C is is the first warm up I think I came across that actually took me down into the double pedal register. So in Warm Up C, you end up going down, once you've got your, let's say your pedal C sorted out, okay, you then descend chromatically all the way down to the double pedal C. Now I don't feel the need to do that a lot, so what I do is I pretty much abbreviate the warm up so that I'll have a triple descending arpeggio. So it starts off in a third space C. I feel as though I'm ready to play a third space C on my embouchure and I can hear it and everything's fine there. And you know what? If I don't, I take a few steps back and maybe do some more things just to get this working. But third space C is quite safe, and just ascend gradually. I think in this one as well, I don't disturb the embouchure. I just take nose breaths. Descend gradually, repeatedly getting lower and lower and lower and lower, always returning back to the third space C until I get to my double pedal C down the bottom. Okay, So now we are on to the note bending that I mentioned. There's a fantastic study out there called Flexus by a woman called Laurie Frink. And I've forgotten her co-conspirator's name. I'll have to put that in the comments or maybe just do a little edit on this video. And Laurie also has a warm-up called Integrated Warm Up. I actually feel it's a little bit more of a maintenance study, but I suppose depending on how you approach it and what you take from it, how much you do of it, then it could just be enough of a warm-up. I actually get into it in such a way where it's in 5 sections. I would play from section 1 all the way through to the end of section 5. And I'm sure there's plenty of people going to say, yeah, you're doing it wrong, you're not supposed to do it that way. Well, in terms of the benefits that I got from it, I felt as though I got loads of benefit from that. It was a nice way to set up the day. And I have lifted a couple of note bending exercises from section 1 of Laurie Frink's Integrated Warm Up. And this is them that you can hear now. So those little note bending exercises from Laurie Frink, I think, are a fantastic way just to get everything opened up here, and really just not opened up in terms of like an open embouchure again, but just relaxed, ready to respond to air, make sure that our chromaticisms, etc., all these little tiny steps are just happening freely. And when we do work on our chromaticisms, which is where we're going to next, you know, there's still intervals, there's still things that we want to try and practice cleanly. So I'm sure I've said it before, maybe you've just said it right there, in terms of the degree of cleanliness that we want to get with our fingers is very, very important, because if our fingers are sloppy, then the mechanical movement of the valve going up and down in the instrument is going to inhibit the airstream, etc., and it sounds sloppy, etc. And there are numerous exponents out there of being really, really precise and accurate with our valve technique. So this moves us on to the chromatic exercises that I have also lifted from Laurie Frink. And they're not just from Laurie Frink, they're from Clark, they're from Stamp, they're from pretty much anyone who has done chromatic exercises in such a way to try and help us be consistent within our scale, nice clean fingers, good production of sound, airstream, etc, etc. This exercise has also got a PDF that goes along with it. I can put a link in the description. I can put a copy on my Facebook page. You can email me for a copy. And what else? Oh, I can put a JPEG at the end of the video as well, so that you can actually see the exercise. So by the time you've done this, or by the time I've been through this chromatic exercise, I have pretty much warmed up all the way from my bottom F sharp all the way to the top C. Right, so the next stage after this is another type of exercise that we'll be very, very familiar with. Okay, so who's familiar with lip flexibilities? I chose a very, very short but expansive lip flexibility just to touch into a register that I feel I need to touch all the time, so that it's there in terms of ability to play there. And also the type of lip flexibilities that are in Collins, etc., that are quite expansive and fluid, and I feel flow very, very well. I've always resonated very well with those. So I don't know if this is a specific exercise that I've lifted out of probably close to the first part of Collins Advanced Lip Flexibilities, but you'll hear it anyway. So this exercise goes all the way up to our top E, so our third ledger line, top E, and obviously all the way down to bottom C. So again, pretty much working a usable range to make sure that everything within that range is fully accessible. And you know, really that's it. And the actual full length warm up is approximately 25 minutes, 26 minutes long. I will be uploading the full version if you just want to watch through it, play along, whatever. I don't know why, it's just me doing my warm-up. But the component parts of it as well, I'm also going to try and chop up into each individual chunk. So the first chunk might be like the silent G, and then edited into the lead pipe bars and the open bent F, etc. That'd be one chunk. So you know, it's like you don't have to go and watch the whole thing if you don't want to. This video in itself should be edited down to less than the full warm up as well. So towards the end of this warm up that I was doing, and I don't always do this, but I figured, hey, I'm doing this anyway. What I thought I would do would be to show one of the exercises that I go into. So one of the exercises that I've already recorded is accessing high notes, or accessing the higher register. And I don't always do this. I don't always do any exercise after this, depending on how and what else I've got to do. But like I said, it's here and the time is mine. So this is me going straight into accessing the higher registers, starting off, I think it's a top C in this video, and then descending down. And I believe when I get to the G, I descend all the way down to 1 and 3 G underneath the staff. And then there's some fun and games to try and get above that, etc. And it, you know, it doesn't really matter in terms of how I feel about how well it sounds on this. It's just an example, etc. I think the actual video is a lot better, and it's just another way to try and add more on. Usually I would have a lot more time between finishing the actual warm up and then going and doing something else. The other type of warm up that I will use in terms of accessing those notes is like the octave gliss, etc. That's very popular as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video. There's more about to come out. Some of it is me load testing this camera and H4n Zoom XY recorder in a rather large room, so that I can get an idea of how to work all that in the live process. So that'll just be fun, and that'll just be from me playing. Other than that, folks, thanks very much for watching. It's going to take me forever to edit this because I've not done this type of overlay editing before, and hopefully it'll look good. It's kind of weird doing a P-Strict camera just with no trumpet playing whatsoever, but you know, I always do talk too much, so maybe this is a good way forward, and we can leave the playing for the playing. I don't know. Anyway, so if I hadn't said it already, which I probably should have done at the very beginning of the video because nobody stays to the end, is please subscribe and hit the like button. I have had some fantastic comments going way back to the original Maggio videos, etc. I'm going to try and address all comments either in the relevant comment sections to the video or in a video like this. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe out there, and hopefully we'll see you in a gig somewhere. Bye bye.